Okay, we have another lesson on addition. We do not have to add any more notes because we already have all the notes we need. In this one, we're going to be using the algorithm method, but also some place value method. So let's take a look here at this page. It's called Lesson 8. Use place value to add 3-digit numbers. You can use place value to add larger numbers. It may help you to think about how many hundreds, tens, and ones are in each number as you add. And here's our example. Ed loads 165 pounds of potatoes and 129 pounds of apples on his truck. How many pounds of food does Ed load on his truck? So we have some numbers here. We have the 165 and the 129. And we need to add those because he's putting more and more on the truck. He's adding to the truck. Here are two ways to solve the problem. When you use the addition algorithm, make sure you line up the numbers by place value. So the first method they show me, again, they divide it this way. So on the left side of this line, we have the place value method. This is the first method, and then this is the second method. So we're going to focus right here. Break each number into hundreds, tens, and ones. So 165 is 100, 6 tens, and 5 ones. And 129 is 100, 2 tens, and 9 ones. And then we will add the ones column. So 9 and 5 is 14. Then 6 and 2, that's 8. And then 1 and 1 is 2. Then we have to turn that number into expanded form. So we have 2 hundreds, we have 8 tens, and we have 14 ones. And that gets added to be 294. So that is one way you can do it. The other way is to just use the addition algorithm. And this is for the student who has mastered this concept. Once you get to an algorithm, it means that you know all of the picture explanation. You're just using it's called abstract. When there are no pictures to look at, you're doing an abstract. And to do this one, we would say that 5 and 9 make 14. So I put down 4 and carry 1. And then I would add this column to get 9. Nothing to carry. And then I would add these two to get the 2. And there's the answer. Same answer we got here. The answer to this question is Ed loads 294 pounds onto his truck. Okay, here's a test example. I'm going to use the algorithm method here because I'm going to assume if you've made it to this video that you have a pretty good understanding of what you're doing. So I think we're safe to move to the algorithm method. So I'm going to start with my ones place, my ones column, and 9 plus 0 is 9. And then I'll move to the rods column, 9 and 1, that's 10, so I will put down a 0, and I'll carry that 10 rods up here to the flats column. and then you will add the flats. So you get 1 and 2, that's 3, plus 3 more is 6. So the answer is 609. What they're showing you down at the bottom is this method, where you say 200 plus 9 tens plus 9 ones, and then 300 plus 110 plus 0 ones. So I'm left with 9 ones, 100 there, and then 500 here. And then those hundreds get combined and then added to that 9, and you get the same answer. So it is fine to do it either way. I'm going to work with the algorithm for this one, but you can always go back and use this red version. That expanded form will always work. This is important, the hint. It's so important, I'm going to highlight it in pink. You can rewrite addition sentences into column addition. For example, 299 plus 310 is the same as this column problem. So this sentence problem and that column are the same thing. So you can always use the method you prefer. All right, page 23. Again, I'm going to use the algorithm for these, but feel free to pause the video and use the method you prefer. On a test, you can use the method you prefer in most cases. All right, here we have 3, 4, 5. I'm taking that sentence and writing it in a column. And 413. You want to be sure that you line it up very straight and very carefully. And then you start with the ones column. So 5 and 3 make 8. You don't have to carry until you get to a 10 or more. Okay, and then we're going to add or do the rods column, the tens. 4 and 1 is 5, so I don't have to carry. And then finally you'll do the flats column, the hundreds, and you get 7. And so your answer is B, 758. Number 2, I have 174 lined up to 1, 2, 5, and I will start with my ones column. 4 and 5 make 9, and there's nothing to carry. 7 and 2 make 9, and there's nothing to carry. 1 and 1 make 2, and that's the answer, 299. 486, 273. 6 and 3 make 9, so there's nothing to carry. 8 and 7 make 15. So I'll put down the 5 and I'll carry the 1 over to the flats column. Then 1 and 4, that's 5 plus 2 is 7. Use your fingers if you need them. And that is 759. And I'm going to do this one the other way as well. Let me pull this right here, and then I'll change colors because I want you to see what that carrying looks like in expanded form. So we have 400 plus 8 tens plus 6 ones, And then we have 200 plus 7 tens plus 3 ones. And I will add these up. So there's 9 ones. There is 150 in that column. And then 600 right here. But it's this number that I'm interested in, because that 150 is the same as 100 plus 50. And then let's take that out because we're changing it around. And then that 600 and that 100 get added together. That's the part you're carrying. It's this 100 that matches this 100 that's getting carried. So you're doing the same thing. It's just the algorithm form is a lot less writing. But if you need to do it this way to get the answer, that's fine. You can absolutely do that. You do not have to use the algorithm if that's confusing to you. You have a choice. All right, this one I have 225. And I've got that big old thick writing again. Let's try again. 225 and 272. And you add those together. So I have 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9. 2 and 2 is 4. No carrying at all on that one. And the answer is C. Then we have 6, 3, 3 and 1, 6, 4. So 3 and 4 make 7. 6 and 3 make 9. 6 and 1 makes 7. And so this is 797. No carrying on that one. Here I have 440, 360. Now don't let those zeros get you tripped up. They're just digits, like the other 9 digits. Nothing and nothing is nothing. 4 and 6 is 10, so I'm going to carry 1. And then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, my answer is 800. I am going to do this one in expanded place value form as well. So we have 4 hundreds plus 4 tens and no ones. Then you have 3 hundreds, 6 tens, and no ones. So we have no ones. We're going to have 100 in this column, and then 700 in this column. But then those two get combined because they're both flats. Okay, so that gives us 800. We didn't have any ones over there, so our answer would be 800. Alrighty, let's look at number 7. We have 503, 107, and we're adding. 3 and 7 make 10, so I'll carry 1. Then 1 plus nothing is 1. And 5 plus 1 is 6. I am going to expand this one because it involves that regrouping, that carrying. And I don't know what I hit, but it wasn't the right button. So let's pull that down here. And let me get my red pen for this one. So we have 500, no tens, and 3 ones. And then 100, no tens, and 7 ones. So we have a 10 here, a 0 there, and a 6 here. And when we combine all of that, we get 610. Let me do it the right way. I'm being lazy. Because in that ones column, you see that you've got tens right here. And that should be over in the tens column. It needs to move over here. So we're going to put it here, take it off of there. And this would be 600 plus 10 plus 0 of the cubes. And that's 610 as the final answer. For me, the algorithm is easier on this one because I get lost with all those zeros. But if you like that way, that is perfectly fine. That's the good thing about getting more advanced in math. The more advanced you get, the more choices you have to work the problem. Okay, this one we have 292 and 568. So let's do the algorithm method. Here I have a 10 carry 1. And here I have 9 and 1, that's 10 plus 6 is 16. And here I have 3 and 5, that makes 8. So 860 is my answer. And I am going to expand that one as well. And I realize I didn't mark an answer on the last question. So let me go up here and do that. 610 was our answer. All right, for this one, let's expand it just for the practice. I have 2 hundreds plus 9 tens plus 2 ones. And then I have 5 hundreds plus 6 tens plus 8 ones. And so here we get a 10. Here we get a 150, and here we get a 700. So I have some regrouping, moving around to do. This 10, first of all, can move to the tens column. So I'm going to take it off here and move it here. And that leaves me with 160 in this column and 700 in that column and none in this column. And then if you look at that middle column, the rods, you have right there, you have a 100 plus a 60. And then you can combine the 700 and the 100 to get 800 plus 60 plus 0 is 860. And that's the answer we had. You can see that algorithm form on that one is a lot faster. But if you need to expand it to get the answer right, that's fine too. You know you're getting more advanced in math when they start giving you story problems. So let's take a look at this first problem. And I'm going to get my highlighter ready. I'm not going to highlight the whole thing, just the question. Tammy took her car to the shop. She paid $715 for a repair and $116 for a scheduled service. How much did she pay in all? So highlight the question and then put a box around the keywords. And in this case, I need to get back to my black ink so you can see it. This is the keyword that means either to add or multiply. So when you get your 715 and your 116, those are two different numbers, So it's going to be addition. And so I will add 5 and 6 to get 11. So I carry 1. And then 1, 2, 3. And then 7 and 1 is 8. And that's my final answer. $831 for that repair bill. That's a lot of money. I am facing that next week, a big repair bill. So I feel sorry for Tammy. All right, number 10. George and his family are driving across the country. They started yesterday and drove 407 miles. Today, they drove another 332 miles. How many miles have they driven so far? That's my question. And I have some very important numbers here. I have the 407 and I have the 332. Now, I have a rule for myself that if my story is about something moving, I draw it. It could be a car driving. It could be a person running. It could be an airplane flying. It could be rain falling. It could be a flea jumping. Any movement I'm going to draw. And in this particular case, I'm going to use a number line. And I'm going to put the starting point. You could also call that yesterday because that's when they started. But I'm going to use S for start. And I'm going to put a line here. This is going to be my yesterday. And it tells me that they drove 407 miles yesterday. Today, they drove 332 miles. And this is now. Doesn't say that they're done, it just means at this point in time. So what I'm doing here is addition. I'm taking this section and this section and I'm putting those together. So we have 407, 332, and we are combining those. 7 and 2 make 9. 0 and 3 make 3. And 4 and 3 make 7. And I also have a rule for myself that I like to put the unit with my answer. So 739 miles is my answer. And back up here, I should have put the unit. That would be a $sign. Get in the habit of including those units and you'll save yourself a lot of mistakes. And that is the end of page 23.